why are we triggered? Why is that person triggering me to the state of either shutting down, submissing, or blowing off my gasket in a not fun way? Well, hello, it's Manuela again from the Halkens Health Clinic, and here's another video. So, when I talk to patients, they always say, well, I'm so angry and he shouldn't do that or she shouldn't do that or whatever it is. Before we respond, of course, we respond in the moment, I understand that. But when we try to work on ourselves in order to try to identify the true us, the true me, kind of, why did I respond in a certain way? We've got to start being honest, being real with ourselves. So there's two things we need to identify. Is it their fault or is it my fault? Now I know what you're saying. Well, don't push the fault on me. I'm not at fault. He did this and this. And I agree with you. However, the question is, why did what he did or she did, I mean, this obviously it's more geared towards women, but what somebody else did to us, why is it their fault? Why, we have to ask ourselves the question, why are we triggered? Why is that person triggering me to the state of either shutting down, submissing, or blowing off my gasket in a not fun way? So in any of these situations, that is actually a sign that we are not really healthy because we haven't resolved our emotions properly. So, in a healthy perspective, our intuition will know what to do. And in particularly for us ladies, we are very intuitive, much more so than the men. Unfortunately, the men are more fact driven, or fortunately, unfortunately for us, because we need the men, with their intellectual capacity, with their savior, taking care of us, protecting us, fact finding, solutions, and. We need all that. And as women, we are more the fluid part of things, the fun loving, beautiful part of life we are giving a partnership. So, having said that, females have in general a much better intuition. So they can feel things very quickly, very deeply, but we make the mistake that we don't always act on those intuitions. Call them red flags, whatever. Of course, there are positive intuitions too that drive us to do certain things, like me right now, this video, because I'm inspired. So that's another part of the intuition, but that's not what I'm talking about right now. So I'm talking about any challenges, basically. So if we see or feel an intuitive feeling that something is off, something is not right, it's a red flag, right? So in that moment, we are not really triggered because we are not really attached to a certain outcome, to a certain situation. In that moment, start addressing that in a normal adult conversation, that you feel something is off. Well, can I help you? What's wrong? Can we talk about it? Of course, usually the men do not want that. And then they need their space and need to go, and you go your way and give them their space. And then eventually, if he is emotionally willing and open and willing to pursue further the partnership of any kind, he'll come back and say, yeah, you're right, something was off, And then, so again, it's this feminine approach of being there, but being flexible enough or not being rigid. Instead, because we all have had life happen to us, we've all had shocks and traumas happen to us, we all have had losses, we all have had judgments that we think are wrong about us. We have had so many situations in life that kind of formed us into a certain persona, you could say. Something is society, something was from parents, something is from friends and families or from partners. It doesn't really matter where it came from, but it's almost like we are a little snowball kind of that got formed by external forces. So our internal way and a way of health wants to shatter that snowball because we don't want to feel like we're in a prison or something. However, for very, very few people, unfortunately, it is very easy to stay true to themselves and to stay real. And while some people are very good in doing real to others, they are bad at receiving real back from their partners. So the situation is with these intuitions. First of all, don't even get into further situations. If your intuition already says, here's a red flag, something is not sitting right, something is off, face it, talk about it, resolve it if it can be resolved. Sometimes you need to walk away because it's just not your tribe, it's just not your partner, even though you thought so and everybody loves him or her. It's just not meant to be. And also this intuition, check in with your higher power, with God, with the universe, whatever you believe in, but check in. That is a very important part of knowing your intuition. Are you on track? Are you not on track? So, but let's assume, of course, like the majority of us, we didn't know about this, life went on and things happen and we end up in a relationship that we are not happy, we are walking on eggshells, we are anxious, we feel threatened, or we just feel insecure because of the rigidity of the relationship we are in and the overpowering masculinity, basically. Um, in those moments when it's not the right way to just throw a tantrum and throw everything back at your partner. In those moments, it's basically the time to say, okay, how can I be better? And what do I need from my partner in order to make it work? Okay. It's not to always just blame on the partner. No, we have a thing in it, even though if he did something to us. Because truth be told, if he does something and he yells at you or he dismisses you or he calls you names or whatever, the question is, why are you getting angry? Why are you upset with him? If you truly know who you are, you don't need to be upset with any of that because you just know he has a bad day and it's all his shit. It's not your shit. But we're not healthy. So again, in those moments, do your healing work away from the situation, away from him or your partner, her, whatever the situation is. Go into a safe spot and process these emotions. Call him whatever you want, punch the pillow as hard as you can until you're totally exhausted, cry your heart out, throw a tantrum, throw yourself on the floor and do a tantrum like little boys and girls do. But let it out alone by yourself. That's how healing is happening. Okay, so that is important. You cannot throw it back into their faces because things will just escalate and eventually it is all going to be over anyway. You're not going to be happy. He is not going to be happy. And either you're just going to live a miserable life together or a roommate relationship because the sex drive is all out the window, or you part your ways and you recognize he or she wasn't for you. He was a teacher, she was a teacher, and take that as a gift. It's all a gift. Okay, so that I'm gonna leave you with that, and let me know in comments below if you want me to talk about other situations, certain things, particular let me know what you think. All right, bye.